Andy, thanks so much for joining us today.
Billy, it's always a pleasure to talk with you, man. It's been too long.
It has been. It has been. So American Underdog. Let's dive into this. You've had I Can Only Imagine, I Still Believe, and so many other films. What was it that drove you toward this film?
Yeah, man. John and I, we love telling true stories, and we really love redemption stories, and ultimately, underdog stories. It's what we relate to the most, kind of being outsiders that have kind of fought our way into the industry that we're in. And so we love those kind of blue collar scrappers from the outside. And Kurt Warner is the epitome of that. Like it's sports legend. It is one of the biggest underdog stories of all time. And I remember when I used to be a cameraman for ESPN, and I remember being on the sidelines of the Super Bowl in 2001. It was Kurt's second Super Bowl, and he was playing Tom Brady in his first. And I remember just watching. By that point, the story had become larger than life. It had become legend. But I kept watching him interacting with this spiky-haired, tough as nails lady in the stands, who was this beautiful woman, his wife, Brenda. And I always was like, I want to know the story between those two. And so when we found out the story was available, we pinched ourselves, and then we went and sat down with Kurt and Brenda in Phoenix and said, what do you think your story is? And they said, it's really not just about football. It's about us fighting for our family off the field, and really about our relationship with our special needs son, Zach, who's blind. And John and I looked at each other like, we want to tell your story. And it just, everything lined up. We got the dream cast, and the story came together. It was amazing.
There something in the film and in the story. Obviously, everybody, even people who are not really sports people, I'm not really a sports person, but we know Kurt Warner's story. But was there something that when you learned more about Kurt and about Brenda that really resonated with you, thinking, wow, I did not know this about their life?
Yeah, for me, I knew the storyline on the field. I mean, most people, even if they're not sports film fans, like you said, know the whole supermarket to the Super Bowl, mythology. Yeah. It's become kind of sports legend. So I knew the sports side of it, but I didn't know the domestic side of it. I didn't know what was going on behind the scenes. I didn't know how bad it got and how hard these two people fought for their family, and just how far that struggle went. And I really wasn't familiar with Kurt's relationship with Brenda's kids. She was a single mom, and he met her, fell in love, and but really just loved these kids. And Zach, their son, is blind, and just the struggles he went through and how that inspired Kurt. I wasn't aware of that whole thing. So Kurt had the arm of a champion, but he got the heart of a champion through this little boy, Zach. And we had Hayden Zoller, this actor, newcomer to the screen, who is actually blind, who played the role and just melted all of our hearts. And so there's a beautiful love story at home between this family and between Kurt and Brenda that I think will make this movie accessible for a much broader audience. So we're excited.
So let's talk about that a little bit, because you just spoke a little bit about the casting there, but yeah. Obviously you start to learn about the story. You get to know, you sort of have this larger than life player. You learn the story, you go deeper into it, and then you have to pick the people who are going to play, these real life people. What went into that process, and what led you to the inevitable choices you made?
For us, we got our dream team on this one, Billy. And I think that, that we knew who we wanted to play it, but we thought we'd never get them. And so it really, when we started looking at Kurt's headshot from back in the day, we just kept saying, oh my gosh, he's a dead ringer for Zachary Levi. And Zach is, definitely a big action star, did the whole Chuck TV series, went on to do Shazam and just finished Shazam 2, and is a superhero now. And Zach and I knew each other back in the day because we're both people of faith. And I used to go over to his house when I was a young upstart filmmaker. And then we both kind of had our resurgence in 2018 when he did Shazam, and I had I Can Only Imagine come out. So we had been talking, we were friendly, and we even have the same agent, but I knew his schedule, and I knew there's no way. But we were on a FaceTime call one day, and he just said, what's this Kurt Warner movie I keep hearing people throw my name around in? And I said, Zach, I wasn't going to pitch you because I know you're booked for the next 3 years. He said, well, send me the script and we'll see what we can do. I was like, okay. So I sent him the script. He read it. texted me back at midnight, said, I'm in tears. I love this thing. Let's go make a football movie. So I called my brother John and Kevin, our producing partner, and Mark, our other partner, and said, I just landed Zachary Levi for this movie, and I didn't even mean to. And I said, he's in. And at that point, it just took the movie to a whole nother level. So Lionsgate really put a ton into it. And then we were able to get Anna Paquin, who's an Oscar winner, to play Brenda. She had never done anything around faith, but really did her homework on really making it authentic. And I was really proud of how hard she worked to try to do something that was new for her. And then Dennis Quaid, obviously we did I Can Imagine with Dennis. And I texted Dennis and I said, I'll let you play whatever role you want to in this thing, man. But I said, I think it's really special when an icon plays an icon. And I had done a highlight reel of Dick Vermeil, and he watched it. He's like, I'm your Vermeil, let's do this thing. And then all the rest of the cast around them, from Adam Baldwin, who's an actor I love, to Bruce McGill, who's a character acting legend. Chance Kelly really is an amazing, refreshing Mike Martz in the film. And so top to bottom, there's not a weak link in this cast. It's an all-star crew.
And the movie is so much more, like you've said a couple times, it's so much more than just a story about a football star. There's a lot of there's a domestic story there, there's a family story, a love story. And something that really struck me is the fact that fatherhood is such a theme throughout the movie, and it's absent fatherhood is an issue so much so in our culture right now. And I want to know if you could speak a little bit to that and the balance of putting that in the movie when it is such an issue that's resonating with so many people right now.
I think the thing that is beautiful is just the ability to kind of look at fatherhood from a standpoint of imperfection. And, I think, there's kind of either an absence of it in some products, or kind of, an overemphasis on the superhero side of being a father, being a perfect dad. And I think the thing that I love is being able to show people that made mistakes, that have flaws, that just struggle forward. And so Kurt, from a home where his parents had split up, the model might not have been perfect of what the family's supposed to look like, but he fell in love with this single mom and her kids, and just said, I'm a fifth-year college senior. I don't know anything about being a dad, but I feel like I need to fight for these kids. And so he kind of stepped into that. And then there's all these coaches along the way in our story that play father figures. And, it was just exciting to see, Kurt figuring it out as he went along, kind of falling forward. And he didn't do it perfect, but he was there. And I think that was really cool. And, some of it, it's definitely a portrait. We can't go into all the nuances of real life family, but I think the part that we wanted to tell was Kurt stepping up where a lot of other men hadn't. And I think that was exciting to kind of see.
Yeah, I want to shift gears just a little bit for a moment to talk about you and your brother and the journey you've been on, because I think probably if I go back to October Baby, we've done interviews all the way back from that, and sort of watching your journey, throughout that has been amazing to where you are now. Obviously, you guys have done so much, and I would imagine the journey's been a little bit different than you would have imagined it would be. What have you learned most about yourself throughout these projects?
I never really saw myself as, any kind of leader. I was always kind of content to be in the background. And John's the big dreamer and the visionary, but I never really felt, I never had a great ambition to be visible. But I've always loved storytelling, and I fell in love with that. And, so when God kind of called us to this whole thing, I kind of went kicking and screaming for a while, where I just was like, I don't know that I'm qualified to do that. But I just couldn't escape the fact that we love telling stories. And with each of these situations that God has taken us through some really deep water where I didn't think we were going to survive. And I thought that, hey, this is, there's many a moment where I kind of looked around, I was like, well, this is where I die. and God just always, I think, let the water level get right up to our nostrils and not quite, drowned us. But I think in that I learned, just the ability to just appreciate the opportunity and be a good steward of it. That as God brings us these stories and we fall in love with it, we just tell them and work hard to chase as much greatness as we can get to, but you never really quite catch it, and just try to get better each time. And I think you see the products getting better and better. And I think that as a whole, when it comes to faith filmmakers, you see that trend doing that, whether it's with the Kendricks or with Devon Franklin or so many others. It's exciting to see the product kind of elevating. And so for us, Imagine was definitely the breakout moment. But then after Imagine, the stories that have come along, Lionsgate has really bought into our brand and into our audience. And so when it gets to a movie like American Underdog, to have a movie that has this budget with this cast and being given a Christmas Day release, that's never happened for any faith film up to this point. Christmas Day is the Super Bowl of our industry. And they just really believed in the title and the opportunity, and they're putting their money where their mouth is. And so I feel blessed to have that opportunity, because it's not been an easy journey for sure.
Yeah, and I wanted to wrap up by asking you about the Christmas Day release. This is a big deal. There are going to be a lot of families who are going in on Christmas Day to see the movie. What's the takeaway? What do you want them to walk out of the theater thinking about? What do you want to resonate with families as they see this movie?
I think for me, our brand is really kind of centers around the idea of a rush of hope. And people need hope, and especially right now, they need hope. They need something to believe in. And on Christmas Day, when so much of the activities and other films kind of divide the family, where the guys all go watch The Matrix, the women all go watch West Side Story, and maybe the kids go see Spider-Man. We wanted to provide a product that maybe doesn't diminish those other products, but a product that the whole family can unite around on Christmas Day and see together. To say, in all the craziness, we're going to unite and we're going to enjoy this product that appeals to all of us. That is a film that at the end of it, we can feel good about, and we can remember what to hope in, that God does have a plan, and in all the struggles that we've gone through over the past 2 years, that we're not forgotten, and God uses the struggle to make something beautiful. And that's Kurt and Brenda's story. I think it will play for all ages, and I can't wait to see people enjoying it on Christmas Day, because it's one of those, you cross your fingers, it's a huge opportunity.
Well, Andy, as always, thank you for bringing hope to the big screen and for all you do. Thanks for joining us today.
Appreciate you guys. It's always a pleasure. We need to hang out soon, man.
We do. Thanks so much.